Lily Rowan drew in a slow breath, glancing around her little shop in wistful contemplation. Blooming serenity, once the pride of her mother and grandmother, had lost its usual luster. Stacks of empty flower pots lined the corners, and the sweet, comforting fragrance of cut stems was overshadowed by Lily's anxiety. She remembered the days when customers flocked to the shop to get the finest bouquets in Redwood Bay. Those days felt terribly distant now. In the window stood a half-wilted display of roses Lily was too frugal to replace, reminding her of the dire state of her finances. She managed a faint smile whenever a passerby paused to peer inside, but few ventured through the door anymore. Rising rental costs and strong competition from a big box store on the outskirts of town had gradually sapped the heart from her treasured business. Each evening, she tallied up meager sales while trying not to dwell on the idea that she might soon be forced to close her grandmother's legacy forever. On this particular afternoon, Lily busied herself trimming stray leaves from a handful of delicate spider lilies, one of her rare specialty blooms. The arrangement was meant for a bride who had a taste for the unconventional. Despite it being a small order, Lily poured her heart into every bud. She carefully positioned each blossom, allowing the tendrils to arc beautifully. The door chimed, making her glance up with the distant hope of a local deciding to purchase a bouquet, or at least a single stem. A solitary man in a navy blue suit entered, scanning the cramped interior with muted curiosity. A bit uneasy, he only lingered long enough to pick up a card from the small stand by the counter, one that listed phone numbers and services, then cataloged the shop with a polite nod before leaving. Whoever he was, she thought, he probably had little interest in flowers. Giving a sigh, she refocused on her arrangement, mindful not to let her disappointment spill onto her customer's special order. Archer Whitmore wiped a thin film of sweat from his forehead as he stepped out into the crisp sea air of Redwood Bay. He wondered whether Lily had truly recognized him. Being new to this quiet coastal town, he was relatively sure she didn't realize he was the Archer Whitmore, the billionaire who had quietly bought a beachfront property the month prior and had dedicated his life's work to discreet philanthropy. After all, his face, though occasionally splashed across business magazines, wasn't as recognizable in small towns, and he preferred it that way. He liked Redwood Bay's understated charm and didn't want the attention that came with a wealthy name. However, the sorrowful look in the florist's eyes had drawn him in. The gentle, painstaking way she handled the spider lilies revealed a passion he admired. It was distressing to see the dust-laden shelves and the half-wilted roses in the window. As someone driven by the desire to help others realize their dreams, Archer had made a silent vow to do something for her. The question was, how best to offer assistance without overshadowing her pride. That evening, Lily sat at her cramped desk, balancing a spreadsheet of expenses. The rent was overdue by a few days, and her supplier's bill was stacking up. The phone rang. Hoping it might be a last-minute request for an arrangement, Lily answered. Her heart leapt when she learned the voice on the other end was requesting a sizable order of 100 bouquets of diverse blooms for a corporate event. Her mind whirled. That many bouquets could pay all her outstanding bills and still leave her with enough to replenish her stock with fresh, vibrant flowers. But the caller refused to share many details, saying only that payment would be handled wirelessly and that she should deliver the bouquets in multiple shipments to a warehouse near Redwood Bay's northern docks. The client wanted to remain anonymous. Initially taken aback, Lily doubted the legitimacy of the request, but the polite, almost reassuring tone of the representative put her at ease. In the morning, she found the promised deposit in her business account. Relieved and buoyed by hope, she immediately set about ordering more flowers and revamping the shop's front display. The following week felt surreal. Lily woke at dawn, energizing herself for the tasks ahead. She made her rounds at the flower market, selecting only the freshest peonies, roses, and orchids for the massive order, Her phone rang constantly to suppliers, delivery drivers, and old friends, hearing rumors that Blooming Serenity was coming back to life. Through it all, Lily couldn't help wondering who this mysterious benefactor was. She pictured some distant business mogul in a glossy skyscraper, employing her as a small cog in a much bigger event. Whoever they were, Lily was profoundly grateful. Soon the shop was brimming with boxes of vibrant petals, the hum of the mini coolers, and the pungent but invigorating scent of greenery. She worked around the clock, exhausted but overjoyed. Each successful delivery to the northern docks felt like a blessing. At night, she fell into bed, too tired to do more than breathe a thankful prayer for this anonymous gift that might just salvage Blooming Serenity. Archer was quietly pleased at how seamlessly his plan had unfolded. He had intended to send the orders through his private assistant, ensuring Lily never knew who was bankrolling her. From his suite overlooking the harbor, he kept an eye on the progress. One morning, he treated himself to a walk down the small town lanes, curious to see the difference he'd made for Lily's shop. He found Blooming Serenity splashed with color, brand new potted orchids crowding the storefront, and a fresh sign that read, "New blooms, new beginnings." Lily stood by the open door, chatting animatedly with a supplier, her cheeks flushed from excitement and a sense of renewal. Archer's heart hummed with satisfaction. There was a brightness about Lily that morning, as though the gloom had lifted. A stray lock of her hair snaked out from beneath the green bandana she liked to wear while setting up displays. Everything about her exuded hope. Archer maintained a distance, watching from across the street. For some reason, the sense of wonder he experienced felt more personal than usual. It wasn't just about providing charity. He admired Lily's spirit, her artistry, and the care she took to preserve her grandmother's legacy. He found himself wanting to know more about the woman behind the blooms. The next day, he mustered the courage to step inside Blooming Serenity. Instead of the businesslike navy suit he'd worn before, he dressed more casually in a light sweater and simple slacks, hoping not to stand out. Lily was bent over a bouquet of lilies and eucalyptus, so immersed in her work that she didn't notice him at first. Archer let the swirl of sweet fragrances wash over him. He had nodded greetings in the past to the owners of various philanthropic projects, but this felt more intimate, more precious. She glanced up with a welcoming smile. "Hi there, feel free to look around," she said. Archer greeted her, praising the arrangement she was working on. Lily's laughter was bright. "It's for an anniversary," she explained. "The couple wants to recreate their wedding bouquet from 10 years ago." Before he knew it, Archer was asking her questions about the hidden meanings of particular flowers, her personal favorites, the best arrangement for a quiet dinner at home. Lily gladly offered suggestions, her knowledge as deep as her passion. She assumed, naturally, he was just another customer. Each second, Archer's resolve to stay completely anonymous faltered. There was something undeniably enchanting about Lily Rowan. That afternoon, Lily visited Redwood Bay's local community center to finalize an arrangement workshop she'd promised for the senior citizens group. It was a volunteer project she had been engaged in for months, but the initial stress of her financial troubles had made her wonder whether she could afford to continue. Now, with her business revived, she was determined to give back. She lined up ribbons, small floral shears, and instruction cards, anticipating the bright faces of the participants. Curiously, she spotted Archer, though she didn't yet know he was Archer, Whitmore, down the hallway, talking with one of the center's coordinators. She noted how he spoke with genuine warmth, laughing as they discussed an upcoming fundraising gala. Feeling a surge of gratitude for the unknown donor who had rescued her, she wondered if the man in the hallway might be involved in Redwood Bay's philanthropic ventures. She dared not say anything, but a little spark of interest glimmered in her mind. The night of the Redwood Bay Charity Gala arrived, an annual event celebrated at the old cliffside mansion that had been transformed into a venue. Lily was hired to provide floral centerpieces. Though she usually stuck to small personal gatherings, she felt well equipped now, thanks to the influx from her anonymous benefactor. She arrived with a few boxes of meticulously arranged bouquets and was instructed to set them up in the grand foyer. Her outfit was modest, flowing navy new pants, a simple chiffon blouse, ideal for blending in after she finished her floral tasks. Yet as she worked, she spotted Archer entering through a side door in a well-tailored charcoal suit, accompanied by an older gentleman. Lily quickly realized this was no ordinary guest. He was greeted warmly by the event organizers, who escorted him to a place of honor near the front. She caught glimpses of the man who had stopped by her shop a few times, the one who had asked so many questions about flowers. In the swirl of the gala, however, she had too much on her hands to speculate about his identity. All she knew was that seeing him there, seemingly crucial to the evening's success, made her wonder. Archer felt thousands of tiny pinpricks of guilt every time he saw Lily bustle by, carrying elaborate arrangements to each table. Their gazes met here and there, revealing unspoken recognition. He tried to refocus on the dialogues around him, discussions of grants for the community center, expansions for the local library, but caught himself drifting, searching for Lily's figure in the crowd. The evening progressed, culminating in a call for donations, speeches of thanks, and heartfelt stories of Redwood Bay's thriving philanthropic spirit. Archer's name was eventually mentioned, a hush falling as attendees recognized the quietly powerful presence behind many charitable projects across the state. Lily, hidden behind a column of hydrangeas as she finalized a decorative flourish, felt a rush of realization. Was Archer Whitmore the same man who'd come into her shop? The portrait that now appeared on stage, a projected image from some business magazine, showed the same gentle brown hair and a refined smile. Her heart pounded. Could he be the one behind the mysterious corporate orders that had saved her? She felt a complex mix of wonder, gratitude, and uncertainty as she slipped away from the gala. She told herself that any suspicion she had could be pure speculation. It might just be a coincidence that the philanthropic billionaire who never traveled without a retinue was the same mild-mannered man who'd asked about which flowers could convey a gentle but hopeful scent. Yet lingering doubt kept her awake. Over the next few days, Lily found discreet ways of digging for answers. She asked the warehouse manager near the northern docks if the orders had come from someone named Archer, but all she learned was that the orders had been accompanied by a single letter with instructions, no names. Then, in her shop, she came across a half-filled-out custom request for succulents that had never been picked up. The address, partially scribbled, led her to one of the philanthropic offices in Redwood Bay that she knew was funded by Archer Whitmore. Her suspicions solidified. Faced with these clues, Lily decided she had to know for sure. After a day spent deliberating, she typed out a short, polite note and delivered it in person to Whitmore Holdings' local branch. Dear Mr. Whitmore, I would like to discuss a project that may interest you if you value Redwood Bay's small businesses. Kindly let me know if you have a moment. Sincerely, Lily Rowan. She half expected a polite brush-off, but Archer surprised her the next morning by arriving at Blooming Serenity in person. The air bristled with tension as she greeted him. He asked to speak in private. Lily led him to the back, where the scents of potting soil and fresh blooms intermingled. Archer's jaw tightened slightly, as though he knew this wasn't just small talk. Her voice trembled despite her efforts to keep calm. She asked him gently if he was the one behind the large corporate event orders that had kept her afloat. For a fleeting moment, he considered denying it, but he saw the question swirling in her eyes and recognized the gratitude, confusion, and yearning for truth that mirrored his own desire to be genuinely connected rather than hidden away by money. Softly, he admitted it. With each syllable, the tension in the room magnified, and Lily felt tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. She was profoundly touched that a man of his stature had singled out her shop for rescue, yet at the same time she couldn't help wondering if pity had spurred him. Immediately, Archer sought to soothe her fears. He explained that when he'd first visited Redwood Bay, his philanthropic attention was usually broad. However, upon stepping into Blooming Serenity, He'd been enchanted by her devotion and artistry. He only wanted to preserve that spark. Lily listened, torn between gratitude and wariness. Nevertheless, she saw the sincerity shining in his eyes. She sensed how he struggled with his own identity in a world that sometimes valued him only for the size of his bank account. At that moment, they bonded over a shared vulnerability: Lily's fear of losing her shop, and Archer's fear that his altruism might be mistaken for condescension. The unspoken truth was that neither wanted to harm the other. A wave of relief coursed through Lily as she reached out to put a hand on Archer's arm, silently acknowledging the honesty he had offered. For a moment, neither spoke, lost in a moment of genuine compassion and growing affection. That evening, after the tension of confession had settled, Archer suggested they close Blooming Serenity early. He whisked Lily away for a stroll along the waterfront. The sky blushed lavender and orange as the sun dipped behind the horizon. They exchanged stories. Lily reminisced about her grandmother teaching her how to gently prune rose bushes and identify the secrets to a perfect arrangement. Archer confided how his late parents had instilled in him a profound responsibility to use his wealth generously. When Lily inquired why he insisted on remaining anonymous, Archer admitted he had seen too many people shift their behavior once they realized his financial status. He craved authentic human connections. Seagulls cried overhead, and soon the twilight cooled into dusk. Both felt like they had discovered a friend, someone with whom they could share vulnerabilities and dreams without pretense. In the following weeks, the newfound closeness between Lily and Archer grew. He visited Blooming Serenity often, not as a benefactor, but to learn more about the world of buds and blossoms that fascinated him. Lily taught him how to handle thorny stems and repot delicate seedlings. Occasionally, they ventured out together, savoring Redwood Bay's hidden gems, sampling clam chowder from sleepy seaside shacks, or gazing at the stars reflected in the still harbor waters. At times, Lily felt like her life had turned into a fairy tale too good to last. She reminded herself that Archer was still a billionaire with many responsibilities, a man whose life existed in lofty boardrooms and philanthropic circles. Yet she saw the gentle pleasure he derived from talking to her elderly neighbors, from quietly funding a soup kitchen in the next town, and from reading novels in a secluded alcove of her shop while she arranged flowers. Spring burst into full bloom, and Lily's freshly expanded greenhouse teemed with new plant life, thanks to the financial breathing room Archer had provided. Vibrant geraniums hung in baskets, mini roses lined the walkways, and cheerful daisies blossomed in neat rows. In Redwood Bay, word had spread that Blooming Serenity was once again thriving, and customers increasingly filled Lily's domain. One afternoon, while Lily was immersed in creating a commemorative wreath for a local historical society, a woman with neatly pinned silver hair approached her. Introducing herself as Helen Proper and a touch formal, she thanked Lily for her work in Redwood Bay and teased that Archer mentioned her often. Helen led a philanthropic foundation under Archer's guidance. "He won't say it, but you've inspired him," she confided. "He's decided to spearhead a project to help local businesses across the state, but Redwood Bay is the pilot. He's calling it the Bloom Initiative. He said your perseverance was the spark." Touched beyond words, Lily felt tears blur her vision. How could she react to such humbling praise? That weekend, Archer and Lily hosted a small gala of their own in the greenhouse. They named it Flourish, in homage to Lily's revival and to the bloom of new opportunities for local artisans and small businesses. The event was simple: no extravagant chandeliers or stilted speeches. Instead, they decorated the greenhouse with luminous strings of lights and softly glowing lanterns, letting the flowers be the true stars. They invited local bakers, crafters, and farmers, each displaying the richness Redwood Bay had to offer. In the center of the greenhouse, Lily arranged a magnificent floral arch of pink peonies, delicate baby's breath, and trailing ivy. The arch symbolized new beginnings, the transformation that could blossom when generosity met determination. Archer's philanthropic colleagues mingled with farmers and shop owners, forging friendships. Laughter and conversation floated through the balmy night air, infused with the fragrance of hundreds of open blossoms. On the edge of the gathering, Lily and Archer found a rare moment together, gazing at one another with contentment that only grows from shared dreams and heartfelt labor. In that warm hush, Lily saw the depth of Archer's compassion reflecting in his eyes. She reached out, and for the briefest second, they stood hand in hand, letting the clamor of their surroundings fade. Softly, Archer spoke of how he'd never expected to find such genuine joy in Redwood Bay. Lily admitted that, despite all her trials, she wouldn't trade them if it meant never meeting him. Archer's fingers curled gently around hers, and he confessed he wanted to remain not just a benefactor, but a partner in her life, someone she could rely on even when times got rough. Words drifted away, replaced by the silent sense of understanding that poured between them. With a tender nod, Lily leaned forward. Under the glow of soft lantern light and the rustling of hundreds of flowers, they met in a gentle, hopeful kiss. All around them, Redwood Bay's future blossomed like a summer rose. Local businesses saw fresh opportunities, volunteer projects flourished, and people came together in mutual support. Lily's grandmother's legacy not only survived, but thrived, thanks to an unorthodox partnership that started with a stealthy gesture of generosity and grew into love. Day after day, Lily and Archer navigated the hurdles that came with bridging two vastly different worlds: flower pots and finance, chestnut hair dusted with pollen, and crisp suits for philanthropic boardrooms. Yet they found harmony, grounded by a shared devotion to cultivating both beauty and social good. Beyond the greenhouse glass, the ocean glimmered, reflecting the dawn's early light on Redwood Bay's horizon. It was a new morning, brimming with possibilities just waiting to unfold, just like a flower slowly opening to the sun. And there, in the heart of blooming serenity, Lily and Archer stood side by side, grateful for the secret benefaction that, once unmasked, revealed the blossom they'd come to call love.